Becky Lynch, your new champion. And that's cool. If I didn't, to be honest, I didn't think. I thought that she was also going to probably be like on like a mini vacation. Of course, Seth got the injury, so he's going to be out a long time. But I thought she would take on like a mini vacation. She's been working pretty hard as well too, but apparently she didn't. I was like, and they called her in, I guess, or maybe she would plan to, and I was like, I know she was doing. They showed her them doing this stuff in UK, but okay. My point is basically is that if I knew that she was in it, I would have said it would have been her, just because I was like when I was like my previous video when I was trying to figure out who could be the women's champion or whatever. I was like I didn't say Becky because I didn't know she was going to be in it, but for the reasons I gave of giving it of like, cause I thought, cause even Cole did say, and they said like all the women, but it was really just the Raw women. Um, it's the same thing that I basically was going to say that if they put all women in there from Raw and SmackDown, just because the draft is coming up, so I don't see why you couldn't. I said Bianca. I was like already I was like a big talent, safe to have it, Uh, if she loses, it's not harmful or anything like that. I was like, it's a good hand to put it on. Well, now known as Becky, that pretty much is the same thing. I was like, now granted, I kind of would have liked somebody else too. Like I said, I knew Liv wasn't going to get it just because I was like, it fits into her narrative that she's doing right now, where she's just mad, angry, that whole type of thing. So I was like, I understood that. I would have liked Nia, and especially the way that she was destroying Becky Lynch. But I also think that that's probably going to be they're probably going to revisit that feud because you think about it, they are 1-1. And in this match, Nia killed Becky the whole time just for Becky to come back and ready to go. Basically on her like almost like super seamless type of stuff, but it's Becky, so everybody likes it. So I could see why not to put it on her because it might feel like Rhea again, where you just got this. I mean, even though Becky's sort of is a dominant champ, I guess like she got the monster part of it, like Rhea does, where it's just imposing. Like like Becky is going to get a match out of Maxine Dupree that Nia Jax can't get. Just because I was like, one, I think I was like just because of their different match styles or whatever like that, like just like Maxine Dupree versus Rhea was going to get squashed. Becky's going to it's going to be a little bit of a here and there have a fight. But I was like, I did like that the crowd seemed to be also in it, and by that I mean it seemed like they was upset when Chelsea got knocked out. Which I was like, I like the fact that she got like knocked out because they didn't see she got put back in. It seemed like the crowd, was like, oh man. And even when it was like Zoe, it was kind of like, okay, oh man. Ivy Niles, oh man. Like, like it's almost, and that's why I was saying, like, it almost seemed like the crowd, like, wanted somebody else. And especially if this is also going to be looked at as a a transitional championship where it's like, like we know that like I don't like Liv. I think it's going to get it before Rhea about to come back, but kind of like how that then you got that whole storyline. Consider how I was like, we don't know how long it's going to take Rhea at all. I was like, does Becky keep it pretty much up until that time, or did not even get a shot at it? So it's almost like, would you have rather put it on somebody that the title will help elevate them? And I was like, to me, like Zoe Starks, I was like, I felt like because of how they did like her little promo of what she, her video package of what she did last year, it wouldn't be somebody that nobody couldn't see the title on. It almost be, with some of these people, it's like, when not to the same level, but if you follow me, when Randy Orton got his championship, where it was just like hella young, and I was like, where it's just like they're not properly ready, but this propels them into another thing where it's like maybe you didn't look at them as a champion, but now because they got the championship, you know, it sort of put them. So I'm like, so I'm like Zoe, you sort of seen it here and there because they give her chances, but her actually holding it and she just have it for a while, you know, or like even like Ivy Niles is like, yeah, she hasn't really been in the spotlight enough or to really or like cut a promo. Like at least Zoe had done that type of stuff, but it's somebody that's like, oh, that's crazy. Then we just get to see her put her into the fire and just see what she does here and there, you know. But I was like, but they went the safe, reliable route, um, which is not it's not bad. Um, I was like, they had a little good showing with like one night. Like it's sort of weird that they're like Nia Jax's gonna do all this and she's never gonna have the championship really. But we did get a little bit of her and Piper, and you know, just a tad. I wish they would have did something else with. They sort of just made like they didn't make Piper look strong until she was about to take out Becky Lynch, and then even then Nia Jax took her out. Um, I was like, I did like what they did with Maxine Dupree, and I was like, from what she'd been to from that storyline, which they're doing a lot of like, they're really taking a lot of internet stuff and making it storyline. But but I was like, from that, what happened with Chad Gable and stuff like that, I'll get to later, is, and then have her in this match where basically she got her hit lick back to Candice and Indy by eliminating them. And then going toe to toe with Nia Jax and also putting out some broke out some moves that's like, okay, if you show it like, you know, cause like in her none of her matches she hadn't really done any of that. What she did with like Nia, like it was just, like it was like a bunch of kicks and a like, you know, like you know, it's not Shining Wizard, but I forgot what it's called. But she did a couple moves we haven't seen her do in matches. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I will say that I don't like battle royals, like, cause it's not like the Royal Rumble. There's no setup there. It's just everybody in there. And me, like, this didn't really get good until it was down to like basically about like 12 people. You know, I was like, that's when everybody started weeding out, cause it's like yeah, cool some spots, but it's just clunky and it's just so filled up that I don't personally like it. But I also get of like, you know, like I was like, I think some people take it too far when they're like over here suggesting something. Cause it sounds like, you know, you're like saying something about like necessarily the women's division and stuff like that, or not want to see like the women wrestle or whatever. And it's not that. To me, I just think a lot more. I was like, there's a lot more of the grouping that isn't at the same level as Rhea, Becky. I was like Nia. I was like, you know, Shayna. You could say, I was like Shayna's. I think Zoe's okay. I was like, I even think Ivy Niles can, but I was like, but then you got like Maxine Dupree and stuff. Like, you know, like I don't think I think there is a gap in a way that the men's division isn't at right now. Like I think the men's is like really heavy of like I was like, you know, like yeah, then after that you get to like a character's hour and stuff like that, but you got to go through a lot. Whereas like the women, I'm like, is really top heavy, and it's not. And I was like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, they suck or nothing like that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like they're still young, they're still green, they're still new here. Like, you know, like I mean, like you could tell like they're on, even though they're on, like how we talking about Maxine Dupree, she's on TV, so we expect her to be like here, but she's not. She still is learning and doing all that other stuff. And I was like, some of the other ones are too, where they're just getting into rhythm of the WWE, the work mat, how are we doing pace and stuff like that. That's what I sort of mean. Like Ivy Niles, I was like, from like when she was first on to like when she had her match against like Rhea till I was like, I forgot who she faced again. Maybe it was Nia that she faced. I was like, I can see where I was like, oh, she's gotten better in that small amount of time. That's what I mean. I don't think they're ready to have the women's division do stuff like gauntlet matches just yet. That's where I'm saying that. But also, a battle royal just seems a little bit too like with it like. Yeah, but I don't think there was any good way to do this unless they did a series of matches. And with the Queen of the Ring coming up, That's why I don't think they would. I don't know. Maybe they could have did something better. But yeah, I was like, I would have liked somebody else to get the championship, but hey, I was like, can't go wrong with Becky. We'll see how that goes. As far as the rest of Raw, it was kind of just like, I was like, stories were progressed, but there were filler matches for it. I was like, so we got Damien and we got Jey Uso, and while I like Jey Uso, I was like, his promos sort of had me just being like, this it's tale of two halves. When he first comes out there to talk, it's kind of like I'm kind of like, But then after Damian Priest sort of talks to him about like, hey, we said we were next, and it's like, but I'm really the one that's next because you still over here. Like basically, like you main event, but you ain't main event when I'm the one with the title. And after that, I thought the promos were better for Jay because I feel like his first set is really like him trying to figure out what to say, not necessarily scripted, but like bullet points. Where the second one, I'm like, that's him actually talking. Whereas like him able to flow really well of just like basically like like you sound like you don't, bitch. How's mommy doing? That kind of thing. I'm going to be the champion. It was a lot better. I was like JD tried to come in there. I was like swoop. I was like and basically he kicked Damien instead of JD. Then we got Gunther coming back. He put his hat into the King of the Ring. But then that's when Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston came out. The New Day came out to basically say like, hey, Xavier, I'm being Xavier, uh, is basically like, I'm trying to be a two-time, and then they did that several times, to be King of the Ring, and Gunther didn't like that. So Imperium and New Day about to fight, but I like that New Day was like, oh my God, we're tired of fighting these people, which tells me that, yeah, one of them teams are going to go to SmackDown, probably Gunther and Imperium. The match was the match. I was like, the New Day won, and Gunther was really mad. So then it was just Vinny and Ludwig in the ring, and it looked all sympathetic. I was like, the crowd was sort of weird about it, and I guess I maybe understand because I felt like we all sort of knew what was coming, and that was basically Ludwig destroying the shit out of Vinci. And he basically took him out in the same way he took out Kofi Kingston like 2 months ago, where he was like he set him on the steps. Everybody was escorting him, and he just took off and ran and just basically drilled that dude's head in. But going back to Gorilla, I was like Gunther was like smiling because it's like Lou was like, I did what had to be done. Now we'll see what happens because I can't imagine that they're not going to add another person. Also, I was like, we don't not gonna know what happened to Vinci, but that sounds like. Look, I was like, if it wasn't already, I was like, I'd be fearful that he's going to get released after that because that's one of them seem like those scenarios. Um, let's see what else. I was like, then we got Sheamus coming out after Drew came out. Drew basically, didn't really say too much. Sheamus tried to come out and be like a whole friend and stuff like that. And Drew basically talked about like you come back and you're supposed to be like the brawling brute, but you basically seem like you're just about burgers. As I guess that everybody was saying that Sheamus was looking pudgy or whatever like that after he debuted, came back last week or whatever. And I guess hearing that he was like, I don't care what none of them say and stuff like that. I guess the whole body shame and stuff or whatever like that. Which I mean, to me, I was like, I feel like you can have the like you. I was like, there's a way to talk about things. I know a lot of people just don't think you shouldn't talk about it at all, but I think it's really different for athletes and stuff like that. And I was like, we play different rules based on athletes, gender, and all this other stuff. But I think I was like, because I was like, then the announcer table was basically like, he looks great and all this other stuff. And and I was like, but then in the same vein, they were basically like, Drew looked like a Greek god, and I'm like, it's so weird how I'm like, you want your cake and eat it too, where it's like Drew get to be a Greek god, but Sheamus look fabulous, and it's like, well, he can't if Drew look like a Greek god, he kind of can't, but I mean, like he could look good. But you also, it felt like a backhanded thing to me. But that's just me because I'm probably reading it like everybody else do about all that, a lot of stuff. I was like, Sheamus looked fine. He looks like a dude that basically had to come back. And when you normally come back, guess what? You're not in the shape you need to be in order to do the job. It's the same thing in any sport. You come off an injury and stuff like that, you're in shape compared to regular ass me, regular ass you, a lot of us that just sit on the couch watching and enjoying this. And that's where I understand some of the people and like what they try to say with all this. But at the same time, I was like, but we can also say that because it is kind of your job at the same time. But I was like, but you can give him some slack because he just came back. And I was like, anyway, um, Sheamus had a match against Nakamura, and I was like, Sheamus won. Uh, yeah, that was just sort of there. I was like, I did like Drew doing the whole thing with Pat McAfee and his headset and getting talking during the whole thing. I do like that interaction. I was like, I do like the stuff WWE is doing with that. The camera. I was like, the camera for the tag team match looked really good. I was like, uh, the stuff with Becky Lynch where they're getting interviews with Candice LeRae and Indy. Then there's a fight with Nia and Liv in the background, and Becky just happened to roll up, and then she take the microphone, and then she started walking, and then she's talking to Maxine and Ivy and stuff like that. So I was like, all this stuff looks really good. We did get a tag team match of the Awesome Truth versus DIY. It was a really dope, cool match. I was like, I actually didn't know where this was gonna go because I could see it go both ways. Where I'm like, All the Truth just got the title. I was like, they're still over as an act that I could see them that. But I was like, DIY has been in a lot of these matches and here, and they just been losing. And we sort of seen the first. I was like, I guess we almost got we got like 3 times that I was like, you might see somebody break up. I was like, I already talked about Imperium. Here we had Tommaso Ciampa not shake hands with the Awesome Truth and sort of just wave off. Uh, I was like Gargano, so I was like, if you know anything about the NXT stuff, it looks like that might be getting alluded to because it's like at some point he ain't gonna win. And I was like, the tag team thing, I was like, it got him over, so we'll see how that goes. But that's foreshadowing, I guess, of that scenario. Sami Zayn is talking in the back, and he's basically like, "Oh, Gabe was supposed to tell like why he did it and stuff." Then Bronson Reed shows up, and Bronson Reed just sort of basically beats his ass and basically is like, "I want to shot at that title." I was like, so I was like, and this is what sort of I meant by fillers. Like the Shinsuke Sheamus match was just because of the Drew part. I was like, the New Day versus Imperium, that was really just to kick Vinci out. Yeah, I was like, well, it was a tag team contender match, so it had to be there, but that was just to see Tommaso just start leaving breadcrumbs that he's gonna like bounce or whatever like that. We got Andrade versus Andrade and Ricochet versus JD and Santo Escobar just because Dom is hurt or whatever. And I was like, fun match, Ricochet and wins. And because of that, I was like, which Damien has been on one all day because he basically mad that Dom is hurt and Dom decided to get Santo Escobar to help without telling him and all this other stuff. And basically, because they lose and they didn't handle their business like he asked them to, he took out Andrade and Ricochet and basically like, I don't need y'all, y'all need me. Yeah, so we're already alluding to like it's only been a week without Rhea Ripley, and he done lost it even further. Cause it's not even just like him like being like an asshole like leader. It's like he's over here like y'all ain't nothing, y'all ain't shit, y'all useless, and all this other stuff. Um, so then I was like, so Chad Gable comes out with his Alpha Academy, basically says we're going to win me my Intercontinental Championship. And I was like, I'm going backwards this way just because I was like, but after that he berates the hell out of him. And like, I know nowadays most people want the nice way of like pepping somebody up and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think this shows the worst way to do it. Because I was like, I'm not one for. I was like, I don't think you got to me. Don't sugarcoat me. Tell me what I did bad. I was like, I don't care if you cuss at me really or nothing like that. I was like, yeah, you. I was like, yeah, you could tell me that my game or what I'm specifically doing isn't great, but you're not gonna also belittle me, which he sort of did, where he just like, characters out, well, you basically is a loser. All you do is lose and lose and lose. He's like, Maxine Dupree, pretty as a princess, but dumb like some rocks. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at that just because I I didn't think that, because it was just so simple that was what made it funny. Just because I was like, when he said pretty as a princess. I didn't know where he was next. I thought he was going to do like, well, the Kira, where it was just like losing, or her, the real life incident. I thought it was going to be something like that, where he just called her dumb, and I was like, damn, that was damn. All right. And then he's like, Otis, you're the worst of all. I don't even know what I should say to you, and but he basically wanted to hear like, we're going to try to win him the title, and they're like, okay, yeah, or whatever. Yeah, and he did try to justify it in the way I sort of said it, where it was like, I'm doing like, this is like good for you, this is where you came here. I was like, I am supposed to critique you or whatever like that. I thought he could have put a different spin on it in order to get a little bit more like heel, while also sounding like it's coming from somebody that's like, I am truly trying to help you. And I was like, but right now y'all are ass, basically. Anyway, yeah, I was like, so I thought that was funny. I was like, I am willing to see more of this Gable that is a straight up douchebag, and while also having to train everybody. And I am hoping that I'm like, oh, this one I don't mind having the championship. This is the one I don't mind. But yeah. So I was like, that's pretty much. I was like, that was it. I was like, I feel like a lot of people were prepared. I mean, of course, it was advertised, but it was. I was like, I seen somebody in the crowd that was like, more women's titles. Which I was like I said, I was like, I think I would personally just like one. That like that's I was like, I don't really like the tag team, but I don't mind the tag team. But I would like one mid card title, but I would like it for it to be both brands, just because I think, to me, two is a lot. Where I'm like, I feel like you don't have really enough women to really do, where it's like there's a title on each brand and then do mid card. And I was like, not that I'm like it won't get there. It's obviously going to get there. With more time, anything increases and grows and develops and gets better. I was like, I just don't think the depth is there in the same way that we don't have the depth for the tag team. I was like, really, the reason with the main championships isn't because there's not necessarily a lot of women there. It's really because the women you have are holding it for so long. Rhea held it so long and destroyed all the Raw women that is like, would it be any better if they had a mid card title? I don't really know about that. And then on the other one, it was either Bianca or Damage Control. So, and Charlotte Flair a little bit in there. So it's like, you really just got this rotation of three. And it's like, I get the mid card title for like the women that, like maybe the Michins and the Zelenas, and and I was like, maybe you give it to a Zoe Stark and stuff like that. But I was like, I just don't think I don't think they have the depth there, where it's like, for instance, Gunther and Sami Zayn, you also can see with the main title. I was like, Jey Uso, same thing. I was like, that's where I said things, stuff like that is a little different. Um, and I was like, and at the end, Becky won the championship and went into the crowd and was hugging all up with the kids, which I was like, which is always cool, because I was like, you never know when it comes to adults, they could be really weird with some of that shit. And I was like, and held up, women rule WWE. I was like, I wanted to sing the song, and that's not the lyrics for it. But anyway, extra long video, because I was like, I went on to like threes that probably was still could be and maybe will be separate videos at some point. But yeah, that is basically the Raw review, Raw recap. If you listen to it, especially this long, I really appreciate it. But even if you didn't, and then this part really don't matter, but I appreciate it anyway. Anyway, Becky Lynch, new champion, and we'll see where they carry this goes. Maybe they'll save all that. Maybe backlash is in a week. I don't know. I don't think they could do anything. But anyway, until next time, I'll see you. Peace.